Final take. Yeah. Hello and welcome. My name is Michelle and today we are going to do another ranking video. These are my favorite videos to do, so I am very excited that you guys really liked the last one. So let's do it again. I have some ideas for different kinds of tier ranking videos for the 16 types. If you have ideas that you want to see, go ahead and put them down below. We can fulfill all those fantasies together. But today, the fantasy that we're going to fulfill is ranking the 16 types according to who's the most likely to survive a zombie apocalypse. Now, I know the last one I did was also a survival situation. And I know that this one is another survival situation. It's not exactly that much different from the last one, but I think it's still going to be a lot of fun, and maybe there's people that haven't seen the last one. You know, maybe. So let's go ahead and rank the 16 types according to who's going to be the most likely to survive the zombie apocalypse, because we need to redeem some people from the quarantine survival. I am already calling it. I'm going to tell you right now, there are types who were very low on the quarantine survival who are going to be much higher in the zombie apocalypse survival. So let's go ahead and find out who's gonna survive. Somehow, up in the front came the ESFJ. So the ESFJ, I chose a mother. I chose a pregnant lady because when I think of ESFJ, I think of Lori from Walking Dead, who, although she was strong and she had that maternal vibe, she also was the one to get pregnant and die. So she survived a decent bit with her street smarts and ability to read the room and make sure that everyone's staying on her side, because the real thing about zombie apocalypses is in the beginning, having just brute force is going to be great. But in the long term, you have to have people who are willing to help support you, because that's kind of important to survive. So the ESFJ has that. However, they're going to get pregnant and die, and we can't exactly have babies in the apocalypse. It's not smart. Survive for a while until you get pregnant, and probably survive until the very end of your pregnancy. So I'm gonna give you a B. I'm gonna give you a B ranking, ESFJs. You'll do okay, but I would like to see you get less pregnant, okay? So next we have the INTJ, and I chose a wild scientist. I chose a crazy scientist for the INTJ because that's, I mean, let's face it, that's pretty common for the INTJ. So one of the things that's really going to benefit them is that they are very, very keen at seeing far into the future, but they're also experimenters, right? And they're going to want to experiment on things. They're going to want to see if they can put two different zombies together to make a mecha zombie. They're going to try to weaponize the zombies. They're just going to mess around with things a little too much, and that will be what kills them. So you might be thinking, oh, that sounds like the INTP. No, but the INTJ is doing this for a master plan of taking over the civilization once everything is over. So they probably have spent most of their time in hiding, and in the long term might do okay, except their experiment may kill them. I feel like they do better than the ESFJ, but I don't know if they do A tier, not for the zombie apocalypse. We got to remember that they're not very good with the physical, like, control of their body. That's like lower on their priority list. They're probably not going to be too great about it. In a stress state, maybe they could pull it out, but overall, I'm not feeling it. Next, we have the ENTJ. I chose a picture of the governor from Walking Dead. I don't know if he's exactly an ENTJ. I'd have to watch the show over again. But what I do really like about the imagery of this is he just seems like a man who's in charge. He seems like a man who's got a vision, and he's driving everyone towards that vision, and he's taking no nonsense, which is kind of not that far off from the governor. I feel like in the long term, the ENTJ is going to survive, but I don't know if they're going to survive till the very end. And part of that is because they're going to burn some bridges, they're going to build some enemies, and those enemies would be very hard for them to fight back against. I'm going to tentatively put them at A tier, the top of A tier, and we'll see as we get to the other types. Next, we have the ESTP. I kind of chose a goofy athlete for the ESTP because, I mean, what better sums up ESTP than goofy athlete? But one of their really great advantages that the ESTP has is they have complete control over their body and they don't really have a strong moral system. So they're going to be able to do whatever it takes to survive. And I dare put them in the S tier. They're definitely going to survive above the ENTJ, unless the ENTJ kills them because they've burned bridges. But I think that the ENTJ would want to keep the ESTP alive, given the ESTP's physical strength and abilities, which in a zombie apocalypse, physical strength is one of the greatest resources available. If you have physical strength, you are gonna last for a long time. People are gonna want to keep you around unless you're just a complete and total butt face, in which case maybe not so much. So I'm gonna stick them tentatively in the S tier. I think that they're really gonna do well in a zombie apocalypse, which, plot twist, is the exact opposite tier of what they were for the quarantine survival tier. So there are different things that we're good at, and for the zombie apocalypse, I want an ESTP. I do. Next, we have an ENFJ. I chose a colorful picture of Oprah because, I mean, is there anything even more ENFJ than that? So some of the benefits of being an ENFJ is they're great leaders, they really understand people, and they have a vision focus. They're also going to have a pretty good control of the self, and they're going to be smart enough not to get pregnant. I mean, I'm so sorry, ESFJs, I'm not trying to say you're stupid. I'm just saying that getting pregnant during a zombie apocalypse is a bad idea. Like, just don't do it. So I want to put her above the ESFJ. And with their ability to rule and get people to like them, I'd want to put her above the INTJ. ENTJ, though. Would an ENFJ surpass an ENTJ? So they're both going to be driving the group towards a greater cause. They're both going to want to be the leader. One's going to be a little bit more democratic, shall we say, and I hesitate to say that the ENFJ might do a little worse than the ENTJ purely because they're going to be a little too nice, they're going to be a little too kind, and not ruthless enough, and somebody's going to stab them in the back. But they are going to survive a long time, they're going to build a community, they're going to run that community, and they're going to do a darn amazing job at running that community, just like the ENTJ. However, I think they're too nice, and they might get backstabbed before the ENTJ does. You guys can debate that. I'm pretty like half and half between who's going to be more likely to survive. You guys let me know your thoughts down below. Next, we have the INFP. I chose this cute little girl with all these colors in her hair, eating planets off her fingers because, let's just be real, head in the absolute clouds. Now, we're talking someone who has very little control over their physical body and is just so caught up in their thoughts, they're gonna have a real hard time with reality. I feel like just the fact it's a zombie apocalypse would be very devastating to an INFP because as an INFP, you'd have to give up pretty much everything you love in order to survive. And I don't know how well an INFP could do that. I mean, I know that conceptually they could do that. However, they would run back to save somebody that they love. They would get themselves into precarious situations. They might just walk into somewhere and accidentally run into a zombie unintentionally. I hesitate. I hesitate a lot in this video, apparently. I want to put them at D tier. I'm so sorry, INFPs. I love you, but I'm not sure how well you'd survive in a zombie apocalypse, nor how much you would want to survive in a zombie apocalypse. I might come and change my opinion later, but we'll see. For right now, I want to put you at D tier, and I'm so sorry. I love you so much, INFPs. Zombie apocalypses just aren't your thing. Next, we have the ESTJ. So the ESTJ, like the ENTJ, is going to try to get the group going on something. However, the ESTJ is much more likely to stick to what they know, stick to the area that they know, stick to the rigmarole that they know. They might be in the military, they might not. But one thing is for sure, they're going to take control of the group. They're going to want to. At least. However, because the ENTJ has a more strong personality, much more willing to push everyone else out of the way, the ESTJ probably, if in competition with even an ENFJ or an ENTJ, probably won't win in the battle for control over the group. So they're going to end up being kind of like a lackey. They're going to be that person who does the work. They might help with building the survival area. They might help with resource procurement. They probably are going to do a lot of the same things that the ESTPs do, except that they're going to be a little less likely to take risks than the ESTP, which ultimately in a zombie apocalypse could actually be bad. I want to put them high up. I do. I'm going to say, who would survive, an ESTJ or an ESFJ? I feel like this is gonna be pretty close. Better than an INTJ? Maybe, except the INTJ is in hiding. The ESTJ is trying to take control of the group. Might die trying to get control of the group, might not. I'm gonna put them above ESFJ for now. Also, I chose an angry guy because when I think of a ESTJ, I think of like a CEO of a company or something who's literally about to blow a gasket because they just can't handle how poorly everyone's doing their job. And that would be the ESTJ in the zombie apocalypse, dealing with all the people that are in the city with them or in the little like community that they're in. They're not going to do well with people who are not doing a good job, and that could also get them killed in the long run. Next, we have the ENFP. I chose a manic pixie because when you think ENFP, you think manic pixie. And when I think manic pixie, I think Clementine from Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which is a great movie. Go ahead and check that out if you haven't. It is just beautiful. Anyway, so this manic pixie girl or guy, we're talking somebody who's a little bit all over the place, but very ingenuitive and very future focused. However, they have very strong morals and very strong attachment to people. And I would imagine a zombie apocalypse would only make them more attached to people until those people would pass away, in which case they would probably lose much will to survive. I don't give them a high ranking. I want to as an ENFP, but I know that myself personally, I could get a group that could help me survive for a while, but I'm not strong naturally. Most ENFPs aren't really into physical things. However, we could teach ourselves and we could force ourselves to a point. But again, if we lose reason to live, like the ENFJ, they're leading the group. That's a pretty strong reason to live. You're protecting all these people. With an ENFP, if they don't have the people that they love and that they're like very attached to, they might lose reason to even fight back. Not to mention, we're a little bit clumsy. We're a little bit, like the INFP, head in the clouds. A little bit less so, but very much so. I'm going to put us at a C. I might move us to a D. We'll see. Next, we have the ENTP. I chose the troll face because, obviously, ENTP is very, very ingenuitive. However, unlike the ESTP, they don't really have the strength to go along with it. And without a strong moral compass, they might really piss off the wrong person. Like if they piss off the ENTJ, dead. If they piss off the ENFJ, probably gonna still die. If they piss off the ESTJ, they might get slapped. I don't know if the ESTJ would go so far as to kill because they wouldn't have to make those kind of decisions unless it was outside while they're in like the fighting area. Like if they're out in the woods trying to forage and the ENTP just does something like astronomically stupid, the ESTJ might take it upon himself to enforce the rules of the tribe. But they honestly might do worse than the ENFP, similar to the ENFP. Again, very close with these types, and the group really matters in a zombie apocalypse. I'm going to put them below the ENFP tentatively. I'm going to go over this whole thing again at the end. All right, next we have the INTP. I chose a nerd. Nerd. The INTP, like the INTJ, is going to want to experiment. They're going to want to like expand their mind during the situation. However, they're going to be more likely to get group support for what they're doing. They're more likely to get people behind what they're doing and get someone like, the governor to want what they can bring. So unlike the INTJ who's doing it for personal reasons, the INTP is doing it still for personal reasons, but they also have the group behind them on their studies. So I think that their lack of ability to handle themselves in the actual zombie world puts them down. So they're very close to INTJ. I'm going to put them right next to the INTJ. So next we have the ISTP. I chose a ninja because ISTPs are ninjas. If you didn't know that, every ISTJ you've ever met is secretly a ninja. Dark Knight? Okay, come on. Ninja. Anyway, I digress. We are going to type them high because, like I said in the previous video, they're not even anywhere near society. They also would have a lot of skills to bring to the group. Like when I think of an ISTP, I think of somebody who really could protect the group and care about the group, but might be kind of a loner within the group, kind of like Daryl from The Walking Dead. They're really good at what they do and they're very dependable, and they're going to be part of the envoy that like goes out and searches for resources because they have a lot to add in terms of their physical ability. However, I also think of characters like Michonne from The Walking Dead who could potentially just leave the group because they're pissed. I think that an ISTP would do very, very well. I think that they could survive on their own without the group, but would obviously do better with the group. And I think they might do better than the ESTP. Are they gonna be the top again? We'll see. Hey, some people have their skills, and surviving apocalypses clearly, I think, is an ISTP skill. Next, we have the ISTJ. More than likely, the ISTJ was already in the military and already serving in the military and helping with the military stuff. If they weren't, they're going to be with their family, they're going to be with the people they need to protect, and they're going to survive up to a point. They're probably going to be more withdrawn than other people. But if we go down this military angle, which is what I have done with this little picture right here, I've got a little soldier because they're probably in the military. I mean, the military is probably comprised of a lot of ISTJs just because there's duty there, there's the ability to prove your worth, but also be part of a bigger group, not really have to be the one making the calls, just doing what you can do well. And the military is going to die off pretty early. I'm talking pretty early. They're going to do better than the INFP. Like the INFP head in the clouds is really going to be hard to beat for the most likely to not survive. And I'm so sorry, again, INFPs, I do really love you. ISTJ, because they're in the military, I'm going to put them down real low because the military are some of the first people to die in a zombie apocalypse. They are not the ones surviving all the way to the end because they are on the front lines, the vanguard, they're fighting the zombies, they're dying to zombies, trying to protect everyone else. Next we have the ISFJ. And I went with nurse, which is kind of a cop-out. Everyone goes with nurse when we talk about ISFJ, but I chose a sexy nurse riding a needle. All right, ISFJs, I got you. I know you guys, you secretly, you got something there that people don't know. Got something there. So the ISFJ, I think, is automatically going to do better than the ESFJ because they're going to understand the group and they're going to find a way to fit in and kind of be unnoticed in the group. They're also going to bring a lot of value to the group because they may be the nurse, they may be the doctor, the person taking care of the group, but they're also going to be really good at the resource management and making sure that things are fair for everybody. And I really think they're going to do well, actually, in a zombie apocalypse. Now, if they're on their own, maybe not so much. But if we're going with the assumption that everyone's made it to the long-term game, the ISFJ has a really great chance of survival because people love ISFJs. ISFJs are so warm and caring. People want to protect that. So in the very least, they're going to be able to survive because people want to protect them. However, they're also going to be taking care of people who are sick and injured, and potentially someone might turn on their service. Do I want them higher than the ENJs? They're really going to do well in a zombie apocalypse long term because people love them and people want to protect them. However, they're not maybe the most assertive people and maybe the most skilled in the physical sense. I'm going to leave them there. I'm going to leave them there for now. Next, we have the ESFP. I chose this girl with a lot of sass. I saw her in this picture and I was like, that is ESFP sass. That right there, she's got it. So ESFPs are also going to survive really well because they're going to bring to the group a strong value. They're going to be the gatherers. They're going to be the ones fighting the zombies and surviving. And they're going to be the ones who bring a lot of value to the group. One of the things that I think will make them a little bit lower than the ESTP is the fact that they do get very emotionally attached. They have strong morals. They're going to stick to their guns, and that could cause issues with the group, that they are very stuck on their morals. But I still think they're going to do a really great job surviving. They're going to last for quite a while. I think they're going to be one of the best. So next we have the INFJ. The INFJ. I chose Kelchrist Falconer from Altered Carbon just because her face and her personality in that show is just so INFJ. She was like the leader of a social movement with a really deep cause that was very philosophical and large scope, and I think that with their ability to lead, they could last quite a while, and they could learn the physical skills that they would need to survive. But how long would they survive? They're not going to really speak up too much when they don't agree with something because they're going to want to survive. They're also going to get a lot of people to like them. I might actually put them up here next to the ISFJ. I think they would do better than the ISFJ just because sometimes that INFJ being very future focused could bring a damper on the group, and the group might not like that. And when we're talking about the group, we got to consider that element. I'm going to say there. They bring more value to the group than the INTJ just because they know how to get the group to like them. And they're going to be very smart in the organizational sense, in running the community, in making sure people feel valued in the community. And I think they'll do well. Not as well as the ENFJ, but I think they'll do really well. Part of what makes them not as likely to survive is they might not be as good with the weapons and with the physical fighting aspect. They could get really good at that. I'm not denying that, but compared to the ENFJ, I'm not sure. Last but not least, we have the ISFP. The ISFP is the artist, the sensitive soul, but also they're going to be pretty strong. I mean, ISFPs have a bite to them, contrary to what some stereotypes have of them. ISFPs, I feel like, would be the ones cooking for the group, would be the ones creating for the group, and they're going to survive quite a bit because of that. their real struggles are going to be with like the ESTJs, the ENTJs, anyone who's going to try to tell them what to do, because they are rather rebellious in nature and they can't exactly just escape the group like the ISTP. I want to put them high up. Do I want to put them in A tier? I think they would do really well. They have the physical control, the senses, they have smarts, street smarts about them. They're going to have a group value. They can cook. They can also be part of the resource procurement, depending on what kind of ISFP we have. And we also have somebody who can create art for the group, music, physical art. I think they're going to do really well, actually. Better than the INFJ. Not better than the ISFJ. See, the ISFP is pretty likely to cause arguments because they have an extremely strong moral system. That moral system is going to pop them down. If they're going to fight anyone, it's going to be the ESTJ. I'm going to put them below the ESTJ. Purely because the ESTJ is going to bring a little bit... Do I have a reason? I don't know. Let's kind of go over my list, make sure it's good, make sure I approve of my own list, and then we'll go on. So we have ISTP in the top. Again, I didn't do that on purpose. I really didn't. Then we have ESTP and ESFP. I feel very confident that they are the most likely to survive. They have the ability to survive on their own if necessary, but they're just gonna be great at surviving. Then we have ENTJ, ENFJ. They're gonna lead the groups. The ISFJ and INFJ are gonna do really well fitting into the group and bringing value to the group and being accepted by the group, potentially taking over control when the ENFJ or ENTJ die, if they die. The INTJ, INTP, ESTP, ISFP, ESFJ. I'm feeling very good with this. I'm feeling very good with my list. I thought I might want to change something, but I can't see anything that I want to change. I'm so sorry, INFPs. I'm really not trying to dog on you, but come on, let's be real. Do you want to survive in a zombie apocalypse? I know I don't. The only thing I'm kind of struggling with is this ISTJ. I think they might do better, to be honest. I'm going to put the ISTJ up, but that's my list. Do you agree? Do you hate what I've said? Do you agree with what I said? Do you want to change any of the tiers that I have put? Tell me down below. And if you like this video, go ahead and like and subscribe for more of these kind of videos. If you have any ideas for another tier list that you want to see, let's go ahead and make it happen. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a beautiful, amazing, fantastic day. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.